What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to some Ask Papa Swolio. It's your boy, Papa Swolio. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure to hit the button for subscribing. Hit the button for subscribing. Hit that button for subscribing. And make sure to drop your question in the comments down below with the hashtag Ask Papa Swolio to be featured in an upcoming episode. And right now, we are going to get into the question of the day. And this one is from Metal Militia 85. And he asks, how big of meals do you recommend when trying to eat 5 to 6 a day for gains? Well, that's a great question. And this really hits home with my personal experience when it comes to fitness, because up until relatively recently, the last few years, my whole entire focus has been bulking. Ever since I started lifting back in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was all about bulking season, about putting on as much size as humanly possible. Just like bulking up, eat big, eat big, eat big. And I was eating 6 times a day. I was eating every 2 hours. And I was literally finishing my food, washing it down with water, trying not to puke. And I was hitting at a Timex, one of those G-Shock watches. And right when I finished my last bite, I hit that timer that had 2 hours and the countdown began. And the next time that timer went off, after 2 hours, I would eat. And it got to the point where I would feel hunger pangs, or pangs. I would just get that, your stomach goes, and you feel hungry. I would get that, and I would look at my watch, and it was counting down from 4 minutes. That's how consistent and that's how regulated the body can get. If your body gets used to eating literally every 2 hours, you'll start feeling hungry every 2 hours, literally. So if you go by the clock, your body will go by the clock. It just goes to show how important it is to get consistent sleep, at the same time. The reason why we're so on that circadian rhythm, the reason why humans, we're so regular. We're very regular. So the more consistent you are, the better off your body will be, because that's what it wants. It adapts that specifically. So to your point and to your question, how big of the meals depends on what you need. Do you need 2,000 calories to make gains, or do you need 3,000 or 4,000? That depends. If you're talking about Thor, half Thor, the fucking the Mountain, the world's strongest man. I don't know if he's still the world's strongest man. He's going to be eating a lot more for 5 or 6 meals than you will. He might be eating 1,000 calories per meal, or 600 or 700, whatever it is. He's eating a ton of calories because he's a beast. He's a giant, 6'5" or 6'7" or 6'8", whatever the fuck he is. He's huge. He's a big boy. So he eats a lot. And for example, if you're eating 3,000 calories 6 times a day, that's 500 calories a meal. Just understand that the more meals you have, whether you do 5, whether you do 6, whether you do 7, the more frequency you eat, the smaller your meals can get. Now, some meals might be a little bit bigger than others. It also depends on when you train, because if you're eating small meals all the time, it's hard to fit in a training window. So usually your post-workout meal might be more calories, or your pre and post-workout meals will be more calories. And then, it depends on when you train. Maybe you train first thing in the morning. So I don't know, Metal Militia, I don't know when you train and what you need. So it comes down to what you require for maintenance, and if you need to bulk up and add more calories, then do it. So you can start off, let's say the average person, to see whether they want to bulk up, maybe a good number, let's just say to start would be, let's say 2,500 calories. The average dude that's lifting hard, that wants to bulk, 2,500 is a good place to start. You might not need 3,000 right away. You don't have a lot of muscle mass, your metabolism's not that fast, you're not, you might not need it. Maybe you're maintaining around 1,800 or 2,000, depends. Let's say 2,500, okay? And then if you're not gaining and you feel tired and you don't feel like you're losing weight and X, Y, and Z, you're monitoring your shit, then you go up to 2,750, or then you go up to 3,000, but understand that when you increase your daily caloric intake, you're going to feel really full. So you're forcing your body to put on size. What you want to do is, with the training, you want your body to think, okay, I need nutrients because I need to repair this tissue. So if you expose your body to those types of stresses from training all the time, regularly, progressively overloading your body, you're training properly, bodybuilding, whatever you're doing, you want to make gains, so bodybuilding type training, you are, your body, what was I going to say? I think I lost my train of thought. You're training regularly, so you need your body needs to use this fuel. Your body is going to learn, okay, Metal Militia is training regularly. This is not going away anytime soon. I need to adapt to this kind of stress. So if you have the fuel, then it's going to build the tissue. So you're essentially backing your body into a corner like a cat. You have to back into the corner so a cat has no other option but to jump on your face and meow. Otherwise a cat's going to run away. Cats don't attack, cats run. But if you back into a corner, you have to back your body into a corner essentially and not give it any options. Make gains the only option. And most people give their body too much out. They take too many days off, they slack, they take days off from eating big, they don't really train that hard. And that's why people don't gain, because it's a daily effort and it's a daily focus and it's a year-over-year process. It's not like, hey, I bulked for 3 months and now I'm huge. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take years. People have this weird conception that you're just going to make sick fucking gains in just a couple months. You can make amazing progress, but it really takes years and years of just like compounded effort to build that thick, dense muscle that's going to stick around for a lifetime. Plus to build those habits, and you're going to have setbacks, you might have injuries and this, that, and the other. So getting a little bit off the ball, but you can see how this topic, how I'm kind of going into more of the training, there's so many factors when it comes to making gains. It's not just, oh, how big do I eat? You got to train hard. You got to be, causing your body the stress so it needs to like fucking send some shit there. You know what I mean? So the bigness, the size, the caloric value of the meals depends on what you need. So pick a number a little bit above your maintenance. Start, maybe if you're not gaining right now, you're kind of maintaining, get an assessment of what you're doing, start tracking what you're doing now and see where you're at. A lot of people just try to do something without even knowing where they're at. They don't know what to change because they don't even know where they started. So figure out what you're doing now, increase it if you need to, and then split it up and divide it over 5 to 6 meals a day. It's that simple. Basic math. Everyone's going to be different. Just don't eat 7,000 calories a day, for example. You're going to put on too much fat. It's too much. It's too much of an extreme change. If you're changing your caloric intake, always do so incrementally. Do like a couple hundred calories a day. That way, if you like it or don't like it, you can adjust moving forward and you'll decrease the risk of putting on too much extra body fat. Because if you increase your calories too much more than what you need for growth, you're more likely and you're going to put on extra body fat and you don't want to get fluffy over time. These are the things that kind of creep up. You feel fine. Hey, I feel pumped. I feel swole. And then all of a sudden you look in the mirror in 2 months, like, oh my God, where'd my definition go? You look at a picture 2 months ago, man, I got fat. It's amazing how easily you can overlook things when you look at the mirror every day and you're looking at yourself in the gym every day and you're training every day, because every day you're in the gym, you're getting that transient hypertrophy, you're getting that fucking pump. You're going to look leaner. You're going to have more vascularity just because you're training. So you're in the gym all the time. You think you're leaner than you are. And you see some pictures when you're at the beach or at like a barbecue or something with friends and you're like, oh man, is that how I really look? Because when you have all the blood in your muscles and you're pumped and you're, it's a whole different look. So, and this is not just about looks. This is about health. So gains are great, but just one and final closing point. I know there's a lot of things that I probably didn't go over. So you could drop a comment down below if I missed something. But I can only go over so much in one video. One of the things that's really important to understand is that you're doing this for health. You're doing this you should be doing this for health and for the long term. So the way you're training and gaining and building, it gets to that point where, okay, you need to have other sorts of fulfillment in your fitness. And I'm telling you this from perspective, and you could still be in gaining mode and just keep your head down, but just letting you know, at least it's in the back of your head, that there's going to be a point where there's only so much you're going to gain while still feeling like yourself and still feeling comfortable and still feeling good. And I've talked about this many times on the Daily Swole podcast right here on the Daily Swole in the live stream. So make sure you subscribe and tune in for those. That I just feel better now. I've downsized some. I'm more flexible. I'm more mobile. I'm leaner, but I don't have the same fullness as I did when I was training at the gym and just doing barbell stuff and heavy squats. I'm doing a lot more of other things, but I feel better as a person. So there's that shift that's challenging for me, for my ego, because I was always, the biggest guy, and I was always training, and the biggest guy relative to, to me, it was always just big, 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 big. But there's that point of diminishing returns where it really starts affecting you physically more than you realize. And when you make that pivot and you notice it, there's that internal struggle. Okay, your identity is, the big dude or the guy with the bigger biceps or the bigger legs, and you have to weigh that out. So there is a point where that your interest might change. So the smaller increments, increasing your gains, increasing your caloric intake, and keeping that mindset, it'll allow you to be more flexible. If you just go excess calories and just eat fucking, dirty bulk, you're going to pack on a lot of fat, and it's just going to be harder to get off, and you might go down a road that you can't come back from easily. So make sure you're smart about it and any kind of changes that you make with your training, with your nutrition, just do so slowly and incrementally, and it's much easier to control and pivot and reverse things if you need to. So hopefully I answered your question in more depth because it was a vague question. So I wanted to give you a little more context and hopefully code over it. But if anyone else has any other questions, or Metal Militiaman, you have any follow-up, you could drop your question in the comments below. Make sure you keep an eye out on Instagram stories for when I post those Ask Papa Swole question stickers. And of course, you drop a question down here, right here on the Daily Swole on YouTube, and I am happy to cover your question in upcoming episodes. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
We go from humble to flexing, you DM, I'm texting, she hit me right back. I'm on the move, I'm not stressing, the king to these peasants, you know that's a fact. Y'all hate the press, y'all elect him, a press for 11, I gave him a stack. I use these words as my weapon, a demon, the session, we killing the pack. We go from humble to flexing, you DM, I'm texting, she hit me right back. I'm on the move, I'm not stressing, the king.